Hello, beautiful mums and souls. I am Brittany Shawley, founder of Whole and Healthy Kitchen. I'm also a mom and mindset coach. Everything I do is to help you to nourish yourself and others with simplicity and joy. Thank you for joining me today. Today we have something special. I'm going to be going through Food Rules by Michael Pollan, and I've extracted 11 of my most favorite food rules / principles so you can apply them to your life and experience simplifying your decision making when it comes to food and grocery shopping. He has one main thought that we are going to be dissecting in detail, and it is this: eat food, mostly plants, not too much. This food rule is imperative if you want to live a healthy, whole, and happy life, and it helps you to make decisions so you know what to eat, what not to eat, but also be free in your relationship to food and not restrained by these ideas that are just going to confuse you. We're here to make it easy, you guys. So pull up a chair, let's take notes, let's dive into food rule number 1. Eat food. Yes, okay, this may seem overly simplistic, but really it's easier said than done. Michael Pollan tells us that there's over 17,000 new products that show up on the supermarket shelves every single year, and they're all vying for our food dollars. But he also says that the majority of these foods shouldn't be called foods at all. In fact, he calls them edible food-like substances. That makes more sense to me because often they are highly processed concoctions that are designed by food scientists to really have your taste buds want to eat more and want to buy more and for it to stay on the shelves longer. So that means there's lots of corn and soy in there that a normal person would not have in their kitchen cupboards. So you guys, today, much of the challenge with what we're deciding to eat and eating well comes down to choosing real food and avoiding these industrial novelties. So real food, let's lay it on you. Vegetables, fruit, berries, wild food / sea vegetables, blah, blah, blah. Meat, high quality meat, and whole grains and healthy fats. Thank you guys for bearing with me to get that all out. Let's move on to food rule number 2. Is avoid food products containing ingredients that no ordinary human would keep in their pantry. Now, this is also like saying don't eat anything your great-grandmother wouldn't recognize as food, okay? So imagine this for a moment. You take your great-grandmother with you to the grocery store. She stops in the dairy aisle, looks at all of the things available, pulls off this tube, like a Go-Gurt, portable yogurt, and is like, what is this plastic cylinder? What is all this coloring? What is all this flavored gel? Is it food? Is it toothpaste? I don't know. Your great-grandmother will be totally confused about the majority of the food that is on the shelves at the supermarket. So you guys, it is really something to consider. Is this something my grandmother would have as food? And is this something that I would have in my pantry just because? And if it's not going to be existing in your pantry, like ethoxylated diglycerides, cellulose, xanthan gum, then leave it out. You don't need it. Why are you going to eat foods that contain foods that you won't have in your kitchen pantry? Don't go there, honey. On to number 3. Really important one. It says avoid foods that have some form of sugar or sweetener listed among the top 3 ingredients. Just so you know, labels list ingredients by weight. So if it is in the top 3 ingredients, that's way too much sugar to be consuming. And there's also 40 different types of sugars, so be mindful when you're looking that it's not one of these things. Boop, 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 boop. Do you see all these? These are all different types of sugar that you want to steer away from. And all sugar is sugar. So even if it's organic sugar, it's still sugar and going to react in your body for the insulin levels to spike really high above normal and then drop really low below normal, and you're just not in this healthy state of being. And you guys, keep this in mind going forward. On to number 4. Guys, number 4, we have 2 wrapped into one. Let's start with the first one. Avoid food products that make health claims. Because you guys, this may sound counterintuitive, but if it has a health claim, it means that it has a package. And that means that it's going to be more processed than its whole food counterpart. You never see a broccoli screaming at you on the sideline saying, "Eat me, I'm healthy." No, we just know that broccoli, fruits, and vegetables are healthy for our bodies to consume. So when it makes health claims, first of all, it has a package. So right off the bat, it's more processed than others. And number two, only the big food manufacturers have the amount of money for the FDA approval that's needed to make health claims. Okay, so let's really be mindful of that. I mean, what happened to margarine? We were seen after that trans fats actually lead to heart attack. No bueno. And also, you guys, avoid products that contain more than 5 ingredients because, again, the more ingredients it has, the more processed it is. Stay away. Keep it simple. Whole foods, baby. All right, moving right along to number 5. This one says shop the peripheries of the supermarket and stay out of the middle. Most grocery stores are the same. That around the outsides is the fruits and the vegetables and the quality proteins and all that good stuff. On the inside is where all that highly processed food is, right? So we want to make sure that we stay around the outside, but also be conscious because corn syrup seems to be showing up also in yogurts. On this note, you guys, get out of the supermarket as soon as you can. I have fallen in love with this idea over the last 2 years. I do things like Fresh Box Market in my area, Butcher Box in my area. I shop local. I go to farmers markets. Do what you can to do the research to get out of the stores and support your local community in getting the fruits and vegetables and proteins that you need for a whole, well-rounded meal. I have links for everything that I just mentioned below. On to number 6. This one is so self-explanatory, it doesn't even have any notes by Michael Pollan. So this one is, if it came from a plant, eat it. If it was made in a plant, don't. How simple is that, okay? We must remember that our plants and our life-giving foods come from nature, they come from Mother Earth, they come from God, and they have everything within its own makeup to supply the body and the brain and the being with what it needs to survive and thrive on planet Earth. So we don't need anything else as a substitute but the whole foods that nature and God has given us. So all we can do right now is be grateful that we have all these fruits and berries and legumes and wild foods to fuel our bodies with the nutrients that it needs. Yay! On to number 7. So we are on the Eat Plants section of our Food Rules book, and our rule is eat mostly plants, especially leaves. I know what you might be saying. I'm not a rabbit. I don't need to eat especially leaves. But hold on a minute. The leaves are the most nutrient-dense part of the entire plant. Think about it. That is the part that is like reaching up to the sky, absorbing the vitamin D and the chlorophyll and the vitamins and the minerals that it's going to intake and then give to you when you eat it. So you want to have leaves into your meals every single day. And just as a tip, eat them as a salad before your big meal. Because listen to this. These are some types of leaves. Ready? Romaine lettuce, iceberg lettuce, mixed greens, beet greens, kale, arugula, spinach, endives, herbs, mustard greens, seaweeds. There's so much. It's so exciting. If you need to know how to put these together and make it even more delicious and more salad dressings, you gotta join my group. Link below. On to the next. We're on number 8, y'all. So our rule is treat meat as a flavoring or special occasion food. Michael Pollan tells us that it's true that vegetarians are generally healthier than carnivores, but that doesn't mean you need to eliminate meat from your diet. Okay, meat has been part of our ancestry. It's a very, very nourishing food. And this is why he suggests mostly plants and not all plants. He calls this way of eating like a flexitarian, where you're just flexible. You're free to your food choices. We've recently incorporated meat back into our meals, but it's because we've done it through something that's called a butcher box, which they keep pastured, loved, sustainable, grass-fed animals in mind, and we trust them as our source. And that leads to the second half of this. Eat animals that have themselves eaten well, because if they've eaten pure grain, that makes them bulk up really quickly, and if they have lots of antibiotics to help them with their sicknesses, you're ingesting all that too, and that is no bueno, my friends. So be conscious of the kinds of meat that you ingest and keep it as a flavoring or a special occasion. Okay, number 9, eat wild and fermented foods when you can. The reason this is so is because wild foods are plants that defend themselves against the environment, against pests, against diseases without our help. So they're very resilient plants that when we ingest, we gain that resiliency. Also, as humans in the Western world, we breed for shelf life. okay? So that means that we have unwittingly taken out like the omega-3 fatty acids that when they are contained in the plant can go rancid really quickly so that it can stay on the shelf longer. That means when we're eating these foods that are not wild foods, they do not have the nutrients that the body actually needs to be beneficial, right? So it's really important to eat wild foods when you can. There's so many things like spirulina and maca root powder and wild blueberries. On this note, it's really important to get fermented foods into your diet because fermented foods have lots of B vitamins, including B12, which you can't find in many places, as well as probiotics, which is helpful for your digestive system and your immune system. You can get fermented foods in all of these ways above, you guys. It's so very important. On to number 10, yay! So favor the kinds of oils and grains that have traditionally been stone ground. The thing with being stone ground means it contains all of the impressive nutrients like fiber and the full range of B vitamins and the healthy oils that are contained within those grains. But when we have things like white bread, which there's a saying, eat white bread, the faster you'll be dead, there's nothing in it that supplies the body with anything. It's completely empty nutrients that turn to sugar. No bueno. And so now we want to make sure that when we're choosing oils and we're choosing whole grains, that they are coming from a source that is most naturally and old-fashionedly done. Does that make sense? I will put my links to my favorite things that I eat in my group, which is also at the link below. On to number 11. Treat treats as treats. This might be my favorite one, you guys, because special occasion foods are something that's part of our culture. I feel like having pastries on occasion and cakes on occasion and big turkey dinners on occasion are something that can bless us and bless our families. It's not something that we want to say, no, you can't have, but it is something that you want to treat as a treat. We've taught our daughter the difference between dinners, like meals, snacks, and treats, and she knows that treats are only on occasion. We do not have them every single day. We also forget when it comes to these things that because they've been made so readily available that it's easier for us to eat these pastries, these fries, these hamburgers on a consistent day-to-day basis. But if we think about how much time it takes to make these things like French fries, for instance, we're gonna make them far less often. So if you are gonna eat junk food, eat as much as you want, as long as you make it yourself. So very important. I've got tons of recipes for healthy and health conscious treats and desserts at the link on my website below. So that's it, you guys. We finished 11 food rules in 11 minutes. And the last thought I want to leave with you is to trust yourself, okay? There are going to be times when you need to throw these food rules to the side and do that. The point in this is to help you to bring ease and grace and simplicity to your food decisions and not make it more rigid and difficult. So we really want you to have food freedom. And keep this in mind. If 80% of the time you eat well and follow these principles, and 20% of the time, like special occasions on weekends, you just enjoy yourself and have whatever it is that you want, then you can guarantee that you are on the path to health and happiness and freedom in your relationship to food. If you have any further questions or you want to know more details about these rules, I have all of the links below. Make sure you subscribe and share this with anyone that you think may benefit. Thank you for showing up today. I hope you have a wonderful day and the food rules made your life a little bit simpler. Bye, y'all.